Okay, so welcome back to GreyHat. It seems like somehow in the 10 minutes that Yisheng presented, we had a handful of additional people creep in. If you need the attendance forms over here, go ahead and scan that and log your attendance. Yes. Is it able to be scanned? Okay, let me fix that. All right, everyone have the attendance? Cool. All right, so can you raise your hand if this is your first time at a GreyHat meeting? Okay, welcome. What's your name? Tony? Great to meet you, man. What year are you? First year? What major? CS? Nice. Well, welcome to GreyHat. We meet every Tuesday and Thursday from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Our Tuesday meetings are technical CTF competition training meetings. Thursdays are general / social / sponsor / whatever security related meetings. This kind of runs the gamut. We communicate primarily on our Discord, so please join that if you haven't already. And we also have an Instagram where we post updates, especially about, say, like our socials and other events. Anyone need any of these QR codes? All right. Okay, so as we've been mentioning during our last couple of meetings, we have elections this Thursday. We're looking for people to run for CTF captain, vice president, and public outreach. If you have been with the club for a while, or you think you can help fulfill these roles, feel free to, actually, the top line is wrong. We've already posted the announcement information in the Discord last week on Wednesday. So you can go ahead and scroll up and find the information over there. So yeah, if you have any questions about running for an officer position, please let me know. Like, shoot me a message on Discord, and I'll be happy to respond and give you as much information as I can. Out of curiosity, how many of you guys are planning to show up for the Thursday meeting? Okay, good chunk of you guys. Keep forgetting that doesn't get controlled on this one. Okay. If maybe like you're newer to GreyHat or you aren't interested in running for an officer role, we do have other open roles that we're currently actively hiring for. This is not going to be an election-based nomination. It's going to be more like you shoot us a message, tell us a bit about yourself, and it'll be a lot more informal in that regard. We'll still feature you on our website if you are being an active contributor to GreyHat's mission. So we need help right now a lot on our infrastructure. If you were here during our last Tuesday meeting, you may have noticed that our various websites and tools that we use to train people are currently in a needs improvement state. There's like a lot of engineering work that needs to go on behind the scenes in order to make sure that all of our infrastructure and the tools that we're using are up to snuff and are actively working and being maintained. So as an infrastructure engineer, you would help out with maintaining the various tools, services that we run as GreyHat, as well as our internal CTF platform, or these include our internal CTF platform, our project infrastructure for the LM CTF agent project and any other projects we decide to run in the future, our GreyHat website, and so on. Yeah, great question, Alexander, from online. If you're interested in any of these roles, feel free to shoot me a message on Discord. I am Nightspire. I'm the president. I'm the guy that's been spamming the announcements channel, probably giving you guys a lot of pings. Should hopefully be pretty easy to find me. If you're still having issues, just feel free to shoot me a message in any communication channel that makes sense for you. My name is Sake Thready. You can probably find me on the Outlook or Teams or something as well. But yeah, any questions about infrastructure engineering? Cool. We've already had a couple of people reach out. We're still actively hiring for more people. So if you're interested, please do send me a message. Next up, we also are going to be hiring soon for security engineers for the LM CTF agent project. Last semester, we ran it as a bit of a competitive project where we had small teams of 4, 7 teams competing against each other to build the best LM CTF agent they could by the end of the semester. Had pretty good results. Managed to do pretty decently in a CTF competition hosted by a GT professor, which was pretty nice. We're currently in the process of backtesting our results and preparing for a presentation to a top research lab at Georgia Tech, who's happened to sponsor this entire endeavor. So maybe I'll have a slide on that in the future. I'm not sure if I skipped it, but we are like after that period when we like do that presentation, we will be actively reopening applications for the LM-CTF agent project. If you've already been on the project, we're probably going to open some slots for leadership roles if you're interested in that. Again, like if you're interested in any of this, please shoot me a message and I'll get back to you. Finally, Rex CTF challenge author. Raise your hand if you've played Rex CTF at Georgia Tech before. None of you guys played Rex CTF last year? Yeah, we did have it like literally like the week before finals, which is probably why none of you guys played it. But yeah, we did. Like it was like honestly like relatively small, and like it was like an entire thing. We had like an issue with flag hoarding, and we just got the scoreboard going like a vertical line. And it was amazing. But yeah, hopefully we'll like. It's been like a while since I'd say like run it properly. I think this is like the first time in a while that we're set to do it like really well. Sorry, in the sense that like we're properly planning out all of our infrastructure and challenges a bit more in advance. And at this time, we are actively recruiting for challenge authors. We're hoping to host Rex CTF in 2 months or so. So if you're interested in writing a challenge and are not interested in playing the CTF, again, shoot me a message and I can engage you and direct you appropriately. Yeah. Any questions about any of these 3 roles? Cool. But yeah, okay, so this is what I was telling you about. Yeah, so we ran the LM-CTF agent project last semester. We're reopening it again this semester, not as a like competitive small team competition, but instead as like a collaborative engineering effort where we'll be actively working together as GreyHat to build the strongest CTF agent we can to help us during CTF competitions. This should hopefully be a lot more responsive to like mentorship opportunities. So if you're a lot newer, last time we were a lot more selective with the people that we were willing to onboard onto the project, given that if you didn't have like a decent programming background and the ability to kind of like work independently and solve your own problems, this project would probably have been too much. But hopefully this will be a bit more of a mentorship opportunity going forward. So if you have a little bit less experience or if you're rejected last cycle, feel free to reapply again. There's a higher chance you will be accepted. Okay, so yeah, we mentioned again last week. I'll just talk at a high level about some of the sponsor events that are coming up. We have Valden coming in 2 weeks. We have another guest speaker coming next week. More on his slide in a second. We have a presentation with SS Lab for the LM-CTF agent members. Thank you guys for competing. Yeah, and we're still like actively talking with HOF Capital and Magnet about setting up events with them. Have you guys heard of any of these companies before? Or any of these groups? Curious which ones. Validen? Yeah, from there when they came last time. Yeah. Yeah. Magnet. Is it because you were active in like the sponsorship recruitment process with them? Oh, really? Wait, what are they known for?
No, I just like known them for like getting people stuff. Like that's why I got them.
Oh, yeah, honestly, like that's pretty valid actually. Fair enough. You guys heard of any of the other groups? In the back, shop? SS Lab? Yeah. I mean, you're LMCTF agent team, so hopefully you know them. I mean, you'll be able to present to them assuming that the like backtesting and demos and the presentation preparation goes well. Anyone else? Well, I think that leaves like Hoff, Verkada, and yeah, just Hoff and Verkada right now. Hoff is a venture capital firm, investing in companies you might have heard of, like like smaller ones like Gropic and OpenAI. It's like they're out there. They like just like their investment thesis is they try to invest in high impact organizations, like things that might revolutionize how we like interact with our world. Which given like just like even those 2 companies and a handful of other things, you can go to like their list of investments. There's like a handful of companies you've probably heard about. Seems like, in my opinion, they are pretty on track for it. They're interested in coming to like last we talked to them, they were interested in coming to like GT's campus and hosting dinners with some people in our club. So yeah, that should be pretty fun. And then Verkada is just I'd say more standard issue like tech company. They build security devices, last I checked, like security cameras and monitors. Okay, right. So as I was mentioning earlier, we have a guest speaker this Thursday. Or no, sorry, not this Thursday. Next Thursday. So not this Thursday, but the Thursday after, because this Thursday we have elections. It's Daniel Bohannon. He graduated from GT's Masters in Information Security over a decade ago in 2013. His talk is Maladaptive and Skyscraper, Obfuscation Techniques and Modern Attacks. I believe he also presented this talk at Black Hat and DEF CON. So it should be pretty fun. About Daniel, he's currently a principal security researcher at Promiso Security. He's formerly a security researcher at Microsoft and Mandiant, both top security research companies. So he has a pretty good reputation in that regard. So it should be really exciting. Hope you guys show up. Okay, right. So finally, for CTF related relevant thing at the CTF meeting today. Who here has heard of a CTF before? Okay, who here is the first time hearing of a CTF? Okay. CTFs are basically just cybersecurity competitions. It's kind of like what we compete in and what we're going to be training for over the course of the semester. I know I mentioned last week that we're going to play Bearcat CTF. After looking closer at the challenges and noticing that Sturdline is like the weekend after, Sturdline Quals is the weekend after, I've decided that we probably shouldn't play in Bearcat and instead play in Sturdline. So that puts in our like next month or so, two high value qualifiers. I'm not sure if Sturdline is going to have an on-site finals. I'm actually not even sure what the end time is going to be for the duration of Sturdline. When I tried to access their CTF website, it is down, which is very helpful for extracting information for a presentation like this. So we got a screenshot of that instead. But yeah, we've got Sturdline calls and DICE calls coming up in the next couple of weeks. This weekend, actually, we have LA CTF, which is not, unfortunately, a qualifier, but is still a very, very well-reputed and well-run CTF, historically speaking, with lots of beginner-friendly challenges that should be really good to mentor with. So if you're completely new to CTFs, this will be a very good event to show up to in order to kind of get your feet wet and get some mentorship. We'll be releasing more information about where we're going to be meeting in person as we get closer to the actual day of the event. Like what we normally do is that we'll meet up like during Saturdays for more or less the entire day. Like primarily like we'll get together like 9 or 10 and then kind of go from there. We'll order pizza and everything. So again, will be really fun. Anyone showing up? The weight of DICE CTF? Quals? I'd say generally pretty high. Like they're definitely like Dice King is one of the like professional CTF teams that are very well known in the community. Honestly, my personal opinion, like they are probably one of the best CTFs I've ever played in. Just in terms of challenge quality and how they're like willing to kind of experiment with how they're running their competitions in order to like just try new and fun things. Like last year we qualified for DICE CTF and got to get flown out to New York for finals. Like one of the CTF challenges was literally an escape room. And that was like really fun experience. Yeah, it is absolutely worth participating. Like I wouldn't use the challenge, like the weight of the CTF as necessarily a measure of how like if all the challenges are going to be super hard and like absurdly difficult. It's more of a gauge of like how good the quality of the challenge is. It's like a really bad quality challenge might be one that's like very unreliable and consistent, has a very guessy solution. Of course, like there is a level of difficulty does factor into it, but it's possible that like it's very common to have very well run CTFs that have a good mix of beginner friendly and challenging CTF challenges, giving all levels of experience a bit of something to do. So yeah, generally, like I'd say like DICE CTF, you're probably gonna really enjoy. Anyone here played DICE CTF calls with us last year? Yeah. Yeah, you remember any challenges from that? Oh, actually, no. Like we worked together on like Nonogram, right? 2024. Yeah. Like we played. Kevin and I played together for Quals last year. Like we were working together on a really cool like reversing challenge where we had to like deobfuscate and figure out like what a Rust web application was doing. And like in order to solve like a Sudoku like style puzzle using a SAT or a satisfiability solver. So really fun challenge. I'm not sure if you ended up doing a write-up for it, but there, you can probably find one for like Rev Monogram. Yeah,
There's 28.
nice. I have no idea because the website's down. Um, yeah, it's gonna be that weekend. It's like at least like a few weeks away, so I guess we'll have more updated information once they get their infrastructure figured out. Right now, like this is just what CTF time told me. So yeah, good catch. Any other questions about upcoming CTFs? I'm not sure about the quality of like necessarily of stirred lens CTF, uh, or stirred lens CTF. Imagine it's probably gonna be pretty decent, given that it's like already moderately weighted. I know that Shellfish, like the ASU team, generally also a pretty good CTF team, is planning on playing in stirred lens as well, which made me take a look at it. So it should, and like from what I can see from the signals I'm getting, be like a pretty solid set of challenges to work on. Okay. Looks like I've successfully made at least 3/4 of V zone out. Very nice. Okay. Right. Raise your hand if you're a competition team member from last semester. Hey, good to see you guys. Okay. But yeah, TLDR, if you were here last Tuesday, you've probably already heard this, but we have like a competition team member role that you can earn. If you play a CTF with us and solve at least one challenge during the competition, and then create a write-up for the challenge after the CTF is over, we will post both your write-up as a publication on our website and feature you as a team member for our competition team on our people page of our website as well. In addition, we'll also like throw your resume in our resume book that we give out to sponsors under like the competition team member section. And the way that you can apply for this or nominate yourself for this is after the CTF is over and you've written the CTF challenge write-up. You can go ahead and just provide a link to that and like more information about the challenge you solved, and we'll be able to take a look, verify it, and add you to the site. Questions about the competition team member requirements? Cool. Moving on. Okay, write-ups. Raise your hand if you've heard of a CTF write-up before and not in like the last like half an hour. Okay, one hand went down. That was interesting. Anyway, yeah, so TLDR, CTF write-ups. After a CTF is over, it's a really good practice to go back through, like say like an interesting or difficult challenge that you solved. Review each of the individual steps that you took, kind of like the methodology you took even to solve the challenge, and write it down in a document like a website, which you can then post and share with others. It serves two purposes. First, it reinforces your own knowledge of the CTF challenge. Like it's very easy during a CTF to kind of be like, if you're hacking away at something for like 8 hours straight and you finally get the flag after some really guessy, crazy solution, it is very helpful to go back after the fact and like kind of do a decomp and break down what exactly happened and how exactly like very fundamentally things work. And in addition to that, by being forced to explain every step of your process from your methodology all the way to your implementation, you get a much stronger and deeper understanding of the challenge you just solved and the techniques and so on you need in order to solve future challenges similar to it in the future. The second purpose is that it serves as a resource for other people who say like stumble across a similar challenge or need information if they're doing like an actual job about some sort of like category bug or tool or technique. Write-ups are a great resource to boost your own presence on the internet. Generally, if you look at some of the best CTF players out there, even like a lot of people who've gone in the industry, you'll see that they have like a long history of like high quality CTF write-ups, which like both goes to show like them giving back to the community and also that they technically know their chops. Okay, so yeah, I kind of like blasted through this already, but I'll just like reiterate this vocally. A write-up is an explanation and walkthrough of how you solved a CTF challenge, what steps you take to find the flag, what do you try that didn't work, screenshots if you had any, or if you can go back and create some. What was your payload or final code that people can copy paste or replicate or modify? And did you collaborate with other teammates? In general, like especially in security land, it's very, very, very important to credit people that you work with. It's often written in Markdown format, but honestly, anything works. I've seen people do everything from post it on like Medium to like their own personal website to like a GitHub page, and they just have like a Markdown file in there that they use to post the write-up content. Like anything really works. Okay, so why make the write-up? Helps others learn from what you did, documents how you solved the problem in case it comes up in the future. It's good proof of CTF participation for resumes. Some competitions give prizes to the best write-ups, and you can also become a competition team member with GreyHat. Yay. Okay, here's a really good example that I liked from Chabert during Core CTF last semester. Core CTF was the first CTF we played in. He got his competition team membership off of this. Yeah, he took some CTFs of him working through the challenge, including a good mix of like the tools he was using, like Burp Suite, and the actual code he was writing, like the results he was getting from it, in order to kind of walk us through how he designed his solution to the challenge and then what actually happened as he was trying to debug and make it work. So thank you, Chabert, for that. I don't think he's with us today. Okay, right. Time for web. Any questions about write-ups before I move on, I guess? No? Okay. All right, I'm just gonna blast through this so we can get to the actual like working on problems as quick as possible. I know we like burned a lot of time earlier today or earlier this meeting, just like with AISI and whatnot. Okay, who here's heard of HTML before? Okay. Anyone want to give us like a definition or like just an idea of what HTML is without looking at the slide? Vishal?
Yeah, HTML is it's all down to the web. It's like it's like text transfer through it's text rendered in your web browser when it is transferred to your computer, and it defines like styles that it defines like the layout of the page based on like XML style. XML style syntax.
Very good. Very good and very technical. So TLDR, HTML defines the structure of the page by like through this XML little markup language. How many of you guys have heard of Markdown before? Just out of curiosity. How many of you guys have not heard of Markdown? Maybe that's the easier filter. It's all good if you haven't. Okay. Markdown is just like a little styling language. If you like use like a pound sign in front of some text, it becomes a title. If you put like, star, if you use messaging on Discord, like if you use like the star in order to like make stuff italics, or like the underscores in order to make stuff like I'm sorry, like or tilde to make stuff strike through, that's like Markdown syntax. Right, okay. But yeah, you can use like HTML fundamentally just like define the structure of a website. So this would include the text, images, links, buttons, so on. It tells the like when that HTML gets rendered in your browser, it creates the web page out of like these basic components that you can then like modify and add stuff to. But more on that in a second. Okay, so CSS. CSS is cascading style sheets. It defines the appearance of your website. So whereas like HTML will help you like define the layout and what's actually on your website, CSS will like make you will like add colors, add styling, add animations even to an extent. If you want like gradients or like text background, you can do that CSS as well. You can see like down up here in the HTML, we have this like HTML tag called a link with rel style sheet and href as style.css. All that's saying is that we're linking to this additional resource from this HTML called style.css on this website. And we're pulling that in and rendering it as a style sheet. So here's what style.css looks like on the website. It's like a separate file on the web server. It defines some information like saying for paragraphs, make the text color white, make the font family monospace, font size 2rem, background color dark gray. For images, make it so that they have a 1 pixel solid yellow border with a border radius of 25%. And in addition, add a invert filter to the image rendering. And then for the body, like the main text of the page, make the background color green, which you can see represented over here on top of our original HTML. Questions about CSS? Okay. JavaScript. Who here has heard of JavaScript before? All right, who here has heard of Java before? Someone want to tell us how Java and JavaScript are similar? Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was like just a funny, I wouldn't say coincidence. There was a reason I think that they did that, but marketing. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the analogy I like to use is that the similarity between Java and JavaScript is the similarity between a car and a carpet. They're nothing alike. So, but okay, jokes aside, JavaScript is what we use in order to add like interactivity and like actually like program on the web. So if you ever use things like clickable buttons for sending requests, if you ever like want more complex animations or like client-side logic inside of your web application, you'll be using some flavor of JavaScript. It can either be included directly within your HTML as like a script block, or it can be included as a separate file with like the script source equals like script.js thing, script.js technique they're using here. Okay, questions about what JavaScript is? I don't think this is very difficult. Okay, client server relation. Who here can tell me what a client in the server is in the context of the stuff we care about as developers? Yes, Nash?
The client is on your laptop with your web browser that you control, and the server is web server, remotely that the owner of the website.
Yeah, so I'll just reiterate what Nash said. You can think of client server as like the difference between your box and the box, like your box being your laptop or other computer, and the device of whatever is actually hosting the website. So it's whenever you're going to a website, like say google.com, you're actually you're making connection from your computer to Google servers in order to pull the content of that website and then load it on your, once you pull all the content you need, your browser on your own device will render it into a format that you can actually visualize and interact with. So what's that actually mean? Well, when I make like a request to like say like a.com next.html, the web server, someone else's computer will shoot back a response saying, okay, and then here's the HTML file that like describes the content on that web page. And that HTML file might link to other files like we saw earlier, like CSS, JS, and so on. Or even like other images and whatnot on the web. So yeah, like as we were saying earlier, like outside of even just like the basic HTML that you initially asked for, if there's additional documents that are referenced inside of that HTML, it'll like know to also request those in addition and pull them down and render them alongside the HTML in your browser. Okay, so most websites have have a mechanic called a session, and it's like the reason why you don't have to log into sites like Canvas or Gradescope or like say like GroupMe every time you like go back to the website. It remembers that you've logged in previously, saves that information somewhere, and then allows you to directly access the content without having to go through the entire painful authentication flow all over again. We save this information on the client side, so on your own device in a, how do you say, in a not format, but like, we call them cookies, right? Like they're persistent pieces of data that you store, your browser stores regarding some website. That makes it so that if you resend that cookie back to the server, the server knows that, hey, I saw this, like I provisioned this cookie XYZ time, which was XYZ time ago. And because it's reset enough, I'm not going to make the user log in again. Okay, so given that, what are some potential risks of just doing this very naively? Like say like, if I like, what are like some potential attacks if I like implement this cookie and session logic incorrectly? Yeah. Yep, exactly. Like if someone like if you log into some website and then your cookie gets leaked somewhere, if someone else were to go to that same website and like enter that like copy that cookie into their like browser, if they like refresh the page, they'll basically be the server will think that they're logged in as you, and they'll be able to access everything that you'll have access to. Why is that bad? Anyone? Anyone new? Anyone listening in the last 1 minute of what I just said? Seeing some familiar hands. Like I appreciate the enthusiasm of you three, but like surely there's other people in this room that are here. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like if someone's logging into you on like a website you care about, say like Google, they can access all the information you have saved in your Google Drive, your like Gmail emails, whatever's going on your Google Photos, who knows? I'm sure like you don't want that to happen, right? It's like have all of your data be stolen out into like dumped down to the internet, or worse, like held ransom against you. That wouldn't be a very fun Sunday. Okay. Well, that's one bad thing that can happen if someone was to get access to your like session cookie. I'll take one more if someone else wants to go. What's like another situation that can happen if someone else gets access to your session cookie? What's something else they could do? Yep.
I guess like the account has like power, they could like increase their access. That they could access like maybe an account that has like multiple.
Yeah, I'm gonna rephrase what you said. That's a very good observation. So if they get access to an account that has the ability to do things on behalf of you, they can do those actions, right? Like this is worse than just like someone being able to read your emails, right? Like if someone has access to your Gmail or their Google account, you've logged into other accounts through your Google. Well, now you're logged in as that, and you now have access to not only your Google account, but every other account that you've ever logged in through Google with, which obviously not very good. Uh, I want to generalize that by saying like, let's call this like the ability to perform actions on behalf of the user, right? Like if I have access to your Gmail, it's like worse than just being able to read your emails. I can send emails on behalf of you. Say like, really ruin your social life or something. I don't know, like lose a lot of friends instantly. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So this cookie is sent alongside like your like initial request. Like when you say like, hey, I want like a.com/index.html, this cookie is sent as part of the request. And then the browser will send you back the like full web page with given that additional state attached to it. If you're just doing it for the first time, the server will send you back a cookie that you can then use for future sessions. Okay, developer tools. Who here has hit inspect element before? Okay. Shocking number of you haven't. Okay. So yeah, how many of you guys have a browser like Chrome or Firefox installed? I think Safari has these features too. Okay. Yeah. So raise your hand if you don't know what inspect element is. That's fine. We can quickly bring you up to speed. Okay. I am worried that people are not raising their hands. Even if they need to, but it's fine. Feel free to raise your hand afterward once we break out into individual work and I can help. But yeah, if you look over here, this like website that Caleb had set up, here like we can just click through the different elements that are on this web page. So like we had the original HTML from earlier, right? Now we can just like interactively navigate through it, see what corresponds to what. You can run this on any website that lets you. There's ways to get around it for websites that try to disable it. Another tab in the inspect element like panel is also the console. It's basically a little JavaScript REPL that lets you directly interact with the content on the page. You can also run like whatever you want in there. Yeah. Here's like in the first like little code snippet up here, Caleb's using document.query selector image in order to get a reference to the image that's on the page. And then afterwards he runs console.log qp to print EB onto the console. Any errors and warnings that the website might be producing will also show up here, which can be useful during a CTF if you're like noticing that, hey, like this thing is erroring out a lot. Maybe there's something bugged with it and it might be exploitable. Okay, network tab. This is useful for especially like you're doing some sort of interactive website, where like if you like interact with it, it sends requests to the server and gets back information. You can use the network tab in order to monitor what's going out and into your computer. They also have a mode where like you can right click a request and like hit like modify and resend if you want to like manually update some of the parameters that are being sent with it. It's a very like quick, dirty in-browser way to do this sort of manipulation. Any questions about the network tab? Okay, application. like there's I guess like two main ways in a browser that you might want to be able to directly access the cookies on the page. The first way is like through if you were to go to console and type in document.cookie, it'll just print out the like current cookie string, which is like semicolon separated like between the different keys and values. So like it'd be like the get equals cat semicolon and whatever other cookies you have stored in there. Or you can just use this GUI in the storage tab. You have to click through like the menu for cookies and the name of the site, and it'll list all the cookies on the site. You can also add and delete edit cookies from here. There's, I think, also extensions that might let you do this as well, but you can basically do everything from this developer tools. Questions about, yeah, I don't think you guys have questions. Yeah, there's other tabs. They're not as relevant for CTF. You can go ahead and check them out. Might be useful if you want to become a web dev and need to debug more. Good stuff. Okay, so back to client, right? Recall that like when we have a web browser that we're using as our client, it's on our computer. So the question I'm going to ask is, do we need a browser in order to make these requests to websites? No, I'm seeing a lot of people shaking no. Why? What else can we do? Yeah. You. Yeah, you can use like a command line tool or literally like any other like application on your computer in order to make this request on your behalf, right? So we're like here in this demo, we're using Firefox, the web browser, in order to make these requests, get them back, render them in our browser. But if we need more control over the request, over the request that we're making, we can just go ahead and use like a programming language. Like Python has this cool library called requests that you can use to programmatically send, even like maintain your own session with a cookie jar, and then send and receive requests back to us with the server. It's actually really, really easy. I'm going to show you after this is over, like a quick like command line demo of how it works. Yeah. So the main thing I want you to take away from this lecture is that you are the client. You can kind of like, if things are being done client side, you basically have full purview over what is going on. And like in general, like you can manipulate that to your heart's content. So if someone like has some sort of login page for a website and they send all of their login logic to the client in like some JavaScript file, and it makes it so that like once you correctly enter the passcode, it gets checked locally on your JavaScript and then navigates you to a different page. Why might this not be secure? Yep. Yeah, you could like reverse engineer the like JavaScript that is sent to you in order to get the username and password. That's definitely one issue with the implementation I just discussed. Okay, there's also another second layer involved. Anyone see it? So to reiterate, it's on the slide. To reiterate, it's like if someone like made some login page, but all the login logic is being done on the client side, and afterwards it just redirects you to a page if you enter the right password. What? Yeah. Go ahead, Nash.
So you can edit the logic with like check. Just do it yourself.
Yeah, that's the second way that you could that this is insecure and that you could bypass it. You could directly modify the logic and skip the check altogether. What else? The thing I'm looking for is just that you can directly go to the login page, and if it's like if the route is available on the client, you can just read the code, figure out where they're going to send you if you were to enter the right password, and just go to that page directly. Assuming there isn't any additional like authentication or checks on top. Okay, I'm running a bit long today, but yeah. Here's more about web exploitation. We have challenges for this week. We have like 10 minutes left. I'll stay a little bit over if you guys want, but yeah. Thank you for sticking around. I'll go ahead and also raise your hand if you're interested in mentoring for today. Okay, thank you. Do you guys like go ahead and start walking around for people who are working on this? In the meantime, I'm going to just go ahead and quickly demo how to use like the Python requests library in order to make web requests from your Python terminal. So if you know what you're doing, I'm sure there's a good chunk of you that have used requests before. You don't need to watch this. If you've never heard of requests, hopefully this will be a bit educational. All right, so what I've got here is a terminal. Yay. You guys remember terminals from last week? Awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and just like make a new folder in temp. All right? So I've got this new empty folder called temp. You guys following me so far? Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and make some Python script, right? Right. So now we've got this little we've got my editor up. So let's go ahead and the library that we're going to be using today is called requests. So import requests. So say we want to programmatically get the content of some website, right? Let's say example.com, and then save it on your computer in order to, manually inspect the data and work with from there, right? So the request library will just let us do, it's call output. So I actually call it res. So in order to get a response from a GET request, which is just a basic way that if you're typing some URL onto your browser, it's basically what you're hits enter, your browser will perform a GET request by default, and then once it has results back, we'll render it in your browser. So we'll just do that entire loop programmatically from our command line. So let's do res, some random variable name, can be whatever you want, equals requests.get. And I said I was going to do example.com. So HTTPS, example.com. How many of you guys have heard of example.com before? No one? Okay. I guess since most of you guys haven't, I'm just going to show over here, right? Right. So it's an example domain. It's got the little title up here, body, and a link over here with learn more. Sorry, if I were to go to inspect element on this, right, we can just go ahead and see that we have exactly what we kind of expect to see, right? The header and then 2 paragraphs. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and run this request to get example.com. After I get that back, I'm going to want to see what's inside of this. So I'm actually going to go ahead, rather than running it from here, I'm going to just go ahead and create a REPL, which will give you a more interactive environment to work with Python. If you just type in Python in your terminal, you'll open up a read, evaluate, print loop, which will let you just type in commands and immediately see the responses. So print test, I can immediately get the response. So let's go ahead and import requests again. Let's do res is equal to requests dot get HTTPS example.com. Right, now we have this res object, right? Saying we have a response of 200, meaning that it completed the request and got it was okay response back. Now, a cool trick you can do inside of a Python REPL, if you have any of you guys used autocomplete before in a programming assignment? If you try to hit tab after you type in once you start typing some word in Java, and you'll have the editor automatically complete it for you. The REPL gives you access to a thing like that as well. So if I go ahead and tap tab twice, I can see a list of all of the different options that are available to me. So here I'm gonna want to see, let's see, maybe the text or something, or actually I think the content will be most relevant here. Let's go ahead and look at the content, right? We get this giant byte string. So this is literally what the browser receives when it made that request. We can actually verify this. If we look back over here, go to the network tab, if I were to refresh this page, we can see that I have to probably do a force refresh. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we can see that we get literally the same thing back. So we can have the response over here. It's pretty printed, but if we would look at it in the rawest form, is literally the same thing. Okay. Right, and then from here you could save it to a file and open it. I'll just go ahead and show you to do that, right? From pathlib import path. Right, so I've written the file now. If I were to go ahead and exit out here, ls, I have this out.html. So if I were to open this folder in Finder, we'll see that we have now this out.html file. If I were to double click it to open in my browser, it's the same website. Cool? the cool thing about doing it programmatically is that once you've done this, like let's say that there's like, some online game that makes you solve like 1,000 math problems before you can go to the next stage. Well, if you were to do it manually as a human, sure, there's tools you could use, but you'd have to more or less like kind of automate a lot of that logic, like, or do that a lot of that manually. Whereas like if you were to use something like Python, you could have a loop that automatically reads the web page, the response you get back, scrapes the math equation from it, like plugs into a calculator script, and automatically resubmits the correct answers. Right? So you can now interact with the web programmatically. Another quick thing I wanted to show you, maybe this will be also a bit more interesting. Remember I was talking earlier about how you could reuse session IDs in order to like log in if like into a page if you like without actually having to log in. So I'm going to do a quick demo where I tested this morning with I think it was like GroupMe. Like how many of you guys have used a website called GroupMe before? Is GroupMe like thoroughly dead? Yeah, okay. Yeah, this was like a really shitty like messaging platform that existed back in like when I first came to campus. It was popular. Now it's pretty dead. I know Darren Mao, like our former president, actually found like a number of security issues with it. And the GroupMe group had like historically, or not historically, but they were really, really bad about getting back to him and actually addressing them properly. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you like basically the way that you can just reuse a session in order to log in on a completely different like in a completely different space where you're not authenticated. Right? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and open up Chrome because I think it'll have a bit of a easier time demoing. Please work. Thank you. Okay, so now if I were to go to like groupme.com and then log in, I'm taken to the sign page, right? I'm actually signing with Apple, so I'm gonna go ahead and just like quickly do that. All right. Yes. Okay, Mentor. Right. So now I'm logged into GroupMe, right? This took a little bit of time. Not very fun. So now that I've logged in as like myself, I have access to all my group chats. I can see all my messages, send stuff on my behalf, right? So if I were to like even like refresh the page, it's still going to take me to the like where I'm still signed in without making me log in again. That's because of the cookie that I have stored in the browser. So I'm going to go ahead and hit inspect element. And let's go ahead and go to the application tab. If we go over to cookies, we'll see that we have a number of them already on this website, right? The one that I care about in particular is this one over here called token. You see how it has like this random string of like text characters over here? That's basically just my session ID. So if I were to go ahead and copy my token, let's go ahead and open an incognito window where if I were to go to web.groupme.com, I have not logged in. So it's going to ask me to sign in now, right? I'm going to go ahead and open inspect element. Let's go back to the application tab. We'll notice that I don't have a token value here yet. So I'm going to go ahead and make a token value, make the value I copied in earlier. Remember, I'm still in incognito, so I haven't logged in or anything. And hit enter. Now I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page. And it signs me in. Cool. So if you're able to steal someone's token, like say like an admin account's token, you're able to impersonate them and do whatever you want with them. Yeah, my window's too small, I guess. There we go. Cool. All right. That's all I have to demo for today. Hopefully you guys found something interesting. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning in online. Wow, we had a lot of people online today. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Catch you guys on Thursday or next week. Bye.